Welcome to our new video. In this video, we will be seeing how we can perform all the Crud operation using local storage along with the jQuery. Okay, so this is just a sample form which is having almost four fields with two buttons. One is to add and second is to clear, and a basic table where we will be showing whatever the data we will be saving. Okay, so if you can see, if I refresh the page, you can see these two records are here. Okay, if I'll add again, let's input a number. Okay, on click of save, you can see third record is added over. If I refresh again, you can still see the same. If I click on edit, suppose I'm clicking on the save as record, you can see that record is being populated over here, and the button text is getting changed to update. Okay, so let's say Delhi 2 update. Okay, you can see address is updated over here and form is also cleared. If I say the delete, I'm trying to delete the first record. On click of delete, you can see record is being deleted and list is being updated with the updated serial number also. So this is everything what you need when you perform a basic CRUD operation. Okay, this kind of assignment normally comes with when you are in the when you are fresher or joining any company. So normally company will ask you to perform CRUD with local storage or with the API. The logic or the concept will be same. Instead of local storage code, you have to hit any API what they will provide. Okay, so let's see the code. Let me zoom a little bit. Okay, this is the normal form. So when we are working with the jQuery, we just have to maintain like ID should be unique because we need to select that particular DOM element. So if you can see here, ID txt name is there. One text box I have taken that is hidden, but it is having ID txt ID. Second, contact number txt contact. Third, alternate contact number txt alternate contact number, and for address txt address. Then we have two buttons, button save and button clear. Okay, and the table which initially it is empty, you can see t body it is empty, just table tr will be fixed, and id is again there, tbl data. Okay, so let me show you the functions we have. So the basic functions are clear form. So in the clear form, what we are doing, we are just clearing all the inputs elements we have, and we are changing the button text to add by default. Okay, so all these four are to make all the input our empty. We are just initializing all the text box with empty values, and we are just changing the button text to add. It is being used in case of update. When we click on the update and save, we should get the add button back to again. Okay, next function is add empty row. Let me delete all the records. You can see once I delete this, you can see this tr is available here. No records available. If I refresh over also, you can see this tr. So simple logical is there. If statement with I have selected table data. This is my table ID. Table data dot tbody dot children dot length. If we have zero length, okay, so in that case we are appending one empty tr. Empty tr is nothing but a variable where I have stored tr. You can see tr td with call span 6 class tender and no record found. This variable we are assigning to our tbody in case of we don't have any tr in our table. Okay, this is first function. Next function is load data from local. So this function is what is doing, it is reading data from the local storage with particular value. Local data is the key where we are going to store all our data. Okay, if we have the local data, it goes inside. First it will empty the existing tbody data with html colon empty. So it will empty the existing records. Then so in local storage, whenever we store, we have to store with the data in the format of string. So whenever we have to convert that to array, so we have to parse that. Okay, so with json.parse, whatever the string value, because local.storage.get item, you can see I can get the string output. So whatever I have written here, it will produce the string output. So I have just passed that into array. Then I have used the for each method to plot our actual TRs. So you can see in for each loop, I have created let dynamic tr. Inside that you can see all the static text is there, complete tr, then td. Just dynamic is the value. You can see index. Index is initialized to 1, and at the end, in the last statement, we are just incrementing the value. So we get the serial number also. Then element dot name, element dot contact, element dot address, element dot address, and plus two buttons, edit and delete. Okay, and then we are appending this dynamic tr to our t body. That's it. Okay. Next is add data to local. So this is our actual function where we are adding whatever the input data we fill and click of save. See, the code is, again we are just trying to read the local data. If local data is there, means we have to push element to the existing local data, right? So this is if statement for that. If local data is already there in local storage. Okay, so then what we are doing, we are again converting the string format to the local array. Okay, and then we need id as a dynamic. So that's why you can see here local data dot length plus 1. So we can, every time when we save the record into local storage, we get the id unique. Okay, the name, we have created the object constant object is equal to curly bracket. So these are the field id, name, contact, alternate, these are, and respective value we have taken from the DOM element, txt name, txt contact, alternate, and address. That's it. So our object is created. Then what are we doing? In local array, we are pushing this object. Local array is the variable where we have passed the local storage data. Okay. Then in after this means in local array, let's consider in local storage I have one record only. But when this line execute and this line execute, when in local array I will have two records. So now I am updating local storage. Local storage dot set item. Set item has two parameters. First is the key and second is the value. So my key is local data and value is local array. So as I have previously told you, like we need to store string format data into local storage. That's why we have used json.stringify and we have passed the local array data. So array, this array will be converted to string and then it will be stored to the local storage in local data variable. Okay. Then after this save, we have called load data from local. So it will update the table also. Whatever the latest record we have, it will update the table. Now in else block, let's say consider in local storage we don't have any data. This is the current situation. We don't have any data in the local storage. So in this situation, it will go to the else block. And in else block, you can see I have created an empty array object. Again, same thing. We have created the object. This time ID is 1 because we don't have to increment because this is the first element which is going to be stored. Then this is the same. Then in array object, this temporary array I have created dot push object. And in local storage dot set item, again the same line. Now we have to stringify array object. Okay. Again load from clear data. Then clear form, because whenever I'm adding or updating, I should clear the data after all the operations are performing. Okay. Then next function is update data from local. Let's add a record. One click of save. Okay. So when I click, you can see this form doesn't have any value now. When I click, whatever the fields values I have, you can see all those are mapped over here. Okay. So you can see, let me show you the function for that in document.ready. On click of edit. Okay, this is the way how we write event on the dynamically added elements in jQuery. See, this is my table selector, then on event handler is click, and then particular class, like on which element we have to fire this event. Okay, so again, this is the normal jQuery, like we have to, I will explain the code when let me first go through all the code, then we will see it in the action also. So I'm just picking on click of, let's say I have clicked on this button. So parent of this button is complete tr. Okay. So here I can see this dot parent, then I'm finding particular text box value, td value, and then storing into this object. And again, all the values I'm assigning to the particular text box. Here you can see txt id also I'm assigning. Txt id is hidden by default. and here I'm changing the button value to update. Okay, and when I click on the save update data local, let's see from where we are getting this call. Okay, so on click of button save, this is the button. Okay, if text box id is val, in case of add new record we will have first text box as empty, means this hidden text box, so we will call our function add data to local. But if see on click of update we are assigning value from local storage to this text box. Okay, so we will call our update data from local function. Here what we are doing, again the same thing, first we have to read the data from the local storage, we have passed that local storage data into local array, then from local array we have find particular element matching to this text box id old record, then we are just updating the data from that array, local array, and again we are storing the same local array to local data, so our local storage data also get updated. Okay, this is for update logic. Last is delete. Again we have to read the data from the local storage, convert that to normal array with JSON parse, then using while loop and checking the condition here, while local array data dot id is equal to whatever the id we are going to pass, if it is there we are splicing local data local array dot splice I, what is the index we have, and we just have to remove the one element. Then again we are storing latest local array to the local storage, and again we are calling the load data from local storage, that is going to refresh the table. Okay, so these are the all basic functions which we have. So now let's see it in action. Let me remove this and clear it out. Let's reload. Okay, so see on click of page load we go into the local read local data storage. If I continue, you can see currently in the application. Okay, see in local data we have an empty array. Okay, so local data doesn't have anything, so it will try to use the for loop since it is empty. Okay, in the outside you can see we have called this function add empty row. Now it will go to this add empty row. Okay, let me copy this code and check over here in console. See currently we have 0 rows. Okay, so now it will go to the inside and empty row. See, this is the text, static text we have stored into the value empty row. Now it will get appended. See, this is the first function. On click of add, now let's add searching. Okay, on click of save. See, now we have a hidden text box which is having value empty now because this is an add statement. Okay, we don't have value in that text box, so it will go to the add data to local function. Okay, it comes here, it have checked, it doesn't have any local data value. Okay, so in local array it is going to push the current object. You can see the object is created, id is 1. Now in local storage you can see we have the data. See, in local data we have the data in string format. Okay, so now after that it is again going to load data, that is going to plot our table. Okay, now it has the data. See, in local data we have the data in format string, double quotes is there, but when we execute this line we are going to get the array. See, it is an array form data. Again the for loop is there. Let me add a debugger over here. See, in dynamic here we have got the value. Sachin you can see here, contact number you can see, alternate contact, and same as address also, where we have added this dynamic concatenation. Okay, now we will get the data. Now again it will come to, but now in this case we already have a data here. See, okay, so empty row, empty tr is being replaced with our actual tr. Okay, second function on click of edit. When I click on edit, you can see we have got the debugger over in this function. When I hover on this $this, you can see I have got the button. So parent of this button is td. I will show you that also. You can see td is there. Okay, td's parent is complete tr. See, tr is there. Okay, but now in tr, while we append, let me again. So if you can see here in all the td, there is certain class is getting applied. See, for first td we have txt name, for second td txt context, same nomenclature I have followed. Okay, so we are just reading, we have just selected this complete tr, then reading td's data by finding its particular class. So you can see on click of edit, this is complete tr. Okay, in this tr I'm trying to find the td with class name .txt and then html. See, Sachin I have got. Likewise this, for second I got the contact number. Okay, so in the variables I have got, and that values we are assigning. See here td we have got 1 and we are assigning that td to the text box. That means inspect this. In the second text box you can see value is equal to 1. So this is because it is hidden, so we cannot see it. So now when we click on update, it is again going to the same event handler, but this time in first text box, hidden text box, we have the value. So it will go to the else block, that is update data from local. So here we have the logic written to update the old record. So here on old record you can see I have got the complete object. We are just updating the values except id. Then again we are storing the local latest array into local storage and then calling the data. That's it. Same thing again repeating and again. And again lastly we have cleared the form also. So let's click delete. On click of delete, what we need is the particular record id. Okay, so here you can see this parent dine txt name dot attribute. So for first text box I have added the attribute. Let me show you how we have done that. See, for the first text box we have added data attribute, data -id element id. Okay, so when we click on the delete, we just read that data. Let me disable the debugger. We have an error. Okay, see here on first text box you can see data id is equal to 1. So we are just reading that value. On click of delete, oh my god, we have disabled the debugger. Let's update. Okay, so here you can see this parent dot with find we have particularly located that text box and then reading attribute. Okay, so in id you can see we have got the id 1 and then we have called the delete from local JSON function. So here you can see in while loop, since we just have the 1, id is equal to and id is equal to 1, so it has gone to the if block and then it will remove the first element. Okay, now local array is 0. Same, it is going to update to the local storage and then we will have an empty tr. Okay, so this is all everything with minimum function. You can write the logic instead of creating this function. You can write the logic in event also, but I have just to separate out the code, I have written the functions. Okay, so one more time you can have a look at the functions, like what functions we have. Okay, clear form, add empty row, load data from local storage, add data to local, update data from local, and delete. These are some event handlers which we need, like on edit and on delete, and on click of save button and on click of clear button. And initially on the page load we have called the data, and this is an empty row static text which we have stored, and this is the normal HTML using Bootstrap. So that's it from this current video. Thank you, and please do subscribe.